This is Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff without Jim.
What, you couldn't just say sports stuff with Muff? Did that not flow for you?
I mean, we could do Sports Stuff with Nate, Alex, and Muff.
Sports stuff with Alex and Muff.
Nalex, or 8. A8.
Muff 8.
Muff. Oh, today is Wednesday. There we go. Wednesday, July 23rd. And we are just over a week away from preseason NFL football. No reaction. Alex just with a
I was
dancing
waiting for Jim
reaction.
to chime in, but I realized Jim's not here.
Yeah. And Alex is dancing, which just goes well for podcasts.
Well, yeah, but I feel like I was trying to up my game because a lot of times I have a bad habit of walking out of the frame or playing with something or coloring and looking down, and you don't get good videos. So I was trying to give you a good video clip. Nancy.
Okay. Thank you for being fancy, Alex. We have the Chargers will be taking on the Lions Thursday, July 31st in the Hall of Fame game, Canton, Ohio. Pat McAfee Show recently announced not only will they be doing their show in Canton, but a week from today, they will be in Latrobe, Pennsylvania at St. Vincent College for the Steelers training camp.
Going to be a zoo that day, isn't it?
Yes, as much as I would love to say, hey, we should try to go to that, I feel like that's the day I don't want to go to that.
Yeah.
I feel like,
And much as I thought the same thing, I'm like, damn, I have to go to the West Virginia State meeting that night.
That night, morning's okay. This week, we will be starting our division-by-division breakdowns in the NFL, and then we will end with the Big 10, Big 12 breakdowns before college football starts. This week, thanks to Nate's research prowess, we will be starting in the NFL with the AFC and NFC West.
AKA for us, the forgotten divisions.
Bingo,
Yes.
That's why they're first.
we'll work our way back to a good side.
Nate caught on as to why those were selected. As always, thanks to everybody interacting with our content on social. Make sure you catch us on YouTube at Sports Jim Muff on Instagram and Twitter, Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff on Facebook, on YouTube. Subscribe, comment, rate, review, poke, like, tickle.
Get the bell on! Ding,
Ding,
ding!
ding. Get that bell on. And I would be remiss if I did not share our most engaged with content from this past week.
Yes.
Was all about hot dogs.
I mean, it is the off-season of most sports.
It is the off-season. Alex, in your off-season, I want you to get a little bit more comfortable speaking into microphones so that people can hear you.
Okay.
There we go. Much better.
I thought you were going to mention the big news.
Was he?
P's and
Go ahead,
P's.
Alex. What's the big news?
P's and P's to Sharon Osbourne. Ozzy passed.
Indeed. Ozzy did go down. So did Malcolm Jamal Warner
I didn't see
from
that one.
Cosby Show passed
Oh, yeah, I did see that. I'm sorry.
in a drowning incident.
Yes.
So T's and
No
P's
worries,
to
man.
lots of people this
Yeah.
week and their families. But yeah, aside from that, we're going to start this week off with the lead off. And in the beginning, we will go to the WNBA All-Star Weekend, where the players create a bit of a stir with their quote-unquote pay us what you owe us shirts. They wore those pre-game. The game itself, and we'll get into a little bit more of that here shortly, the game itself was another all-star type basketball game. A lot of shooting. They had a 4-point spot. I think multiple 4-point spots on the court, which was something interesting. Did any of you watch any clips from the game, since I'm going to assume that neither of you watched the game itself?
Yeah, you lost me at basketball.
Okay.
I have not. I did not watch the game or any clips yet.
So no. Got it, Alex.
Sorry.
Simple.
From now on,
Simple response.
no.
Thank you. Right now, the WNBA is currently going through their collective bargaining agreement negotiations, and trying to capitalize on a new media rights deal that will start next year, which is part of the reason why the players are speaking out. Interestingly enough, Kelsey Plum came out and said that there was 0 members of Team Clark being very present in the lead up to the shirt wearing pregame. So maybe a little bit of resentment.
Didn't care.
What's speculation, Alex?
That she makes a lot of money as is and didn't really care.
I mean, her salary is $70K. So her salary is not what gets her over the top.
But what I mean is because of all her endorsement deals, she doesn't care what her salary.
Right. So I went and did some digging, with this collective bargaining agreement. How does this compare to the NBA? What are some of the realities of the NBA versus the WNBA? Realizing the NBA does subsidize some of the WNBA's expenses themselves. So here's the reality. And this is all thanks to some Google searches, so I can easily be proven wrong by people that want to dig even deeper, but I tried to keep things pretty simple with averages and general values as opposed to going in the nitty-gritty. The average WNBA franchise currently is valued at $269 million, with, I believe, 2 more to be added next year. Right now, the average NBA franchise is valued at $4.66 billion. That is about 17 times higher than the WNBA. It's important to kind of keep these escalators in mind here. Reality number 2, the NBA owns about 50% of the WNBA, and the WNBA franchises own the other 50-ish%. The NBA is also key in negotiating the media rights deals and provides annual endowment of $15 million to the WNBA for operating expenses. So when people say that the NBA subsidizes and puts money in, it's not like it's hundreds of millions of dollars, right? 15 million, I think, is a relatively low number when you think of total operating expenses, which are going to be over $200 million. Fair?
Fair.
Reality number 3. WNBA players receive about between 20 and 25% of the revenue within their salaries. NBA players receive about 50% of the revenue. I think that's honestly the reality, that the league is worth so much more, so the NBA players are going to get a little bit more of that pie. They've grown it over the years. They've gone through these collective bargaining, not just agreements, but the negotiations many times, and got to the point. So, all that to lead into the media rights deal for the WNBA starts next season. It is 11 years, $2.2 billion. Could ultimately be near $3 billion if they add some additional partners, get some other networks in there, etc., so forth. The NBA's media rights deal is 11 years, $75 billion. That's upwards of 30 times higher than the WNBA. So when you're thinking about the pure economics, the NBA, so much more. So much more there, so much more money coming in. Yes, of course, salaries are going to be higher with that information. So to salaries, the highest WNBA salary is Jackie Young at about $250,000. If I just said, before you saw that, what would you say the highest WNBA salary probably was, Nate?
Given we were just saying Caitlin Clark came in at like 70,000, I would have said if she's getting that as a rookie, I probably would have said somewhere around 175, 200,000.
All right. Alex?
Probably around 8.
Okay. The highest NBA salary is Steph Curry, who's just shy of $60 million. So that is about 23 times higher than Jackie Young, who is the highest salary in the WNBA. That pretty large discrepancy all said and done. The average WNBA salary is $125,000. The average NBA salary is $11.9. There is where we see the largest discrepancy. That is almost 95 times higher than the WNBA, the average salary. Big news right there. So when we see pay us what you owe us, I feel like this is where we're starting to get into this average salaries comparatively. If there's a media rights deal that is about 35 times higher than the WNBA within the NBA, and an average salary that is almost 95 times higher, I think this is where we start to see some of where this really comes into play, why, especially with this new media rights deal coming into play next year, why they're fighting so hard right now for this money. So the minimum WNBA salary is $66,000. Minimum NBA salary that I found is like $1.15 million, about 17 times higher. So that average salary is the largest discrepancy between the NBA and the WNBA. So when we see this pay us what you owe us, right? We saw a lot of comments, commentary, discussion. Where do you two fit into the pay us what you owe us? What realistically do we maybe see with an annual WNBA salary increase going into next year? Alex, what do you think is a reasonable increase?
I mean, you're not never gonna make what the NBA makes salary wise, but you're saying 95, maybe 95 times as much. I mean, can you? I don't think it's unreasonable to say they should at least be 1.50% more, a 50% increase, at least to start.
So about a 200,000
Yeah,
as an average WNBA salary. So an increase of 50%, or are you saying doubling that to about 250,000 as an average salary?
I was thinking. Well, I guess I was thinking in my mind, and I didn't do the math right. Adding like so right now, if the average salary we said was 125, right?
Average
So I was
WNBA
thinking
salary.
make it like 300. So like my thought was
So two and
doubling
a
it
half times.
times. Yes, yeah. I like adding 1.5 is what I should have said.
Okay, got it. Nate, what do you think would be a reasonable average salary in the WNBA?
I think it depends on the revenue because the stat you gave earlier, where WNBA players receive about 20 to 25% of the revenue, where
Mm-hmm.
the NBA gets about 50. That's where I think they're going to have to really look. Is they can't. I think you can't just look and say, oh well, we think our base salary should be X.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you got to go based off the revenue. That's where the NBA is getting all
Right.
their money. It's the revenue sharing.
Right. It's the revenue share, which doesn't just include the media rights. It also includes the apparel and everything like that, which we know that at this point the WNBA has created a greater awareness and there's more of that merch out there, especially when you think of the class that just came in with Paige Beckers, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese. I mean, you've got some names. Even Haley Van Lith came and doesn't play a whole bunch for the Chicago Sky, but is a notable name who has a lot of advertising dollars behind her salary. So, yeah, I think reasonably, I think that 250 to 300K, I think with this new media rights deal makes sense to have an average salary. But we got to
Yeah.
remember we've got to see what this revenue share looks like as well. So I agree with both of you as far as what's going to go there because they can't just escalate it to like 3x, 4x,
Yeah.
and then have to walk that back later.
So
Mm-hmm.
my question was, after I was listening to Nate, so NBA players get about 50% of the revenue from the NBA, and WNBA players only get 20 to 25% of the revenue from the WNBA.
Mm-hmm.
So why their argument should be why don't we get 50% of our revenue and they get 50% of their revenue, and then take that extra, and then however the salaries pan out, they pan out.
Yeah, and that's what this collective bargaining is. So, but you got to remember that revenue next year is going to be increased with this new media rights deal. So, I don't know what that means. So, 50% of, and you got to remember they may also be increasing like a salary cap, which also allows them to pay higher salaries. So, it's not just about the salary itself, is what is the cap.
Yeah.
I forget what they typically use as a salary cap. It may be that 50% mark in the NBA. That may be what they're using for a salary cap. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We will see, but pay us what you owe us. I do believe that they are deserving of more money. How much? We will see with the CBA negotiations and how they pan out. Away from basketball and into something that we all enjoy talking about a little bit more, the foosball. Nate and I took in some local high school football all-star game action that had a controversial ending as West Virginia took home the OVAC crown over Ohio thanks to a last-second touchdown and a two-point conversion. Nate, give us your thoughts and some of the controversy that resulted and some of the, we'll say, the bantering on the social medias that came into play as well.
So for those of you who have seen it or haven't seen it, um, the angle of the play they show, there's a pass thrown over the middle, receiver goes down the sideline, scores, touchdown, they go down one, they go for two, and they get it. the question was there an egregious hold on another receiver going down the sideline? And again, I didn't see it live. I'm only going off this video clip I'm seeing. People are all bantering online. Oh my God, how do you not call that? His helmet came off, this, that, and the other. And I mean, Muff can probably tell you from being there as well. It was a physical, chippy game from the opening kickoff, where linemen are blocking guys literally to the whistle. They're 10, 15 yards downfield, pushing and shoving. So, I mean, if they weren't calling that from the get-go, I'm fine with them not calling that there. I can't tell based off that angle. Was he holding him the whole time? I mean, it just looks bad because the helmet comes off and the two players are fighting or whatever, basically. But I don't see the defender making a big effort to get away from that guy to go make the play. I see two guys over there chicken fighting, basically.
Yeah, full disclosure, I was not there till the end. I looked like there was some rain coming in, so I didn't stick around. But did see the replay the next day, and I think I said in our group text, I said it looked like they were slap boxing in the middle of the field.
Yeah, that was exactly what you said.
So to me, I mean, I will say that first half you did have a lot of blocking too, and maybe slightly past the whistle. It was pretty physical overall. So I didn't see how that progressed throughout the second half, but I will defer to Nate's assessment and say that it's probably about how the game should have ended as far as a non-call on a borderline situation.
Yeah, I mean, I get it from the Ohio fans' perspective or whatever. They see that right in front of them, and they're like, how can he not call that? Well, honestly, he could have been looking at another block for all we know.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, you might say, well, how
especially
do you not see that? It's
yeah.
like you get locked in on the one block, you see these two guys there, and they're basically just shadow boxing each other. You're like, okay, now I got to look at another block ahead of the play. Because that guy that you see on film there, he's got a back judge behind him in the middle of the field, so he's got to watch the blocking out in front of the play, which you might say, oh, again, how does he miss that? Again, he could have been looking at another block, or he may have passed off on that one and saw that guy was going to be turning upfield, and he didn't want to get burned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you never know, but definitely an exciting finish to the WNBA All-Star Game. West Virginia taking the game in the final seconds. Woo! Nate, does this get you juiced up for the upcoming football season?
Yeah, it was a full day of football for me. I was in Columbus that morning for the Ohio State high school meeting, and then drove back and met some of my crewmates. We were all staying on the sideline supporting one of our other guys that was working the game. But yeah, it was a full day of football. Now we just gotta kind of sit around and wait for the scrimmages to come around here in a few weeks. And I think it's August 1st is when high schools in Ohio can start practice.
Ooh, about a week away.
It is coming up.
Football season coming up. But before we get into football, we're going to talk about golf. Because Scottie Scheffler did it again, wins the Open Championship at Royal Portrush in Northern Ireland, spoiling what could have been an epic win for Rory McIlroy on home turf. It's another ho-hum type of win for Scottie Scheffler, best of the field by 4 strokes over the 4-day event. Fun fact, it has taken Scottie Scheffler the same number of days, 1,197, between his first and fourth major victories, the exact same number of days that it took Tiger between his first and fourth major wins. It's pretty interesting. Now, I will say that Tiger was much more dominant over the same number of starts. This is just between first and fourth majors. Tiger in the same amount of starts as Scottie Scheffler has twice as many majors, and I think a little more than twice as many PGA Tour wins in the same amount of starts. So that was just the time between first and fourth major wins. So if you want to think about what that means, because Scottie Scheffler has been pretty dominant in the golf world, Tiger was twice as dominant.
That's what I was just going to say. To me, that is more of a testament to Tiger than Scottie.
Did anybody else see the still image of Scottie's son whenever they were having that hug? And the baby's like, what?
No.
Or trying to climb up that small little hill around the green to go get him.
No.
That is of interest. Scottie Scheffler pre-tournament was at a presser and talked about how golf doesn't necessarily define him. He does not. It's definitely his occupation. It definitely pays the bills, more than pays the bills, and he's more than happy to be doing something that he loves to do. But the moment that he said golf is consuming him and taking away from his time with his family, taking away from some of his other, we'll say, general hobbies or interests, will be the time he knows it's time to give up golf. So a little bit of a different perspective, especially when people compare him to Tiger, when Tiger was all consumed with golf and the only thing he thought about was how to win tournaments.
True.
But from winning tournaments to maybe never getting to host ever again, Shane Gillis hosted the ESPYs, and I think I can say with some certitude that ABC and ESPN will not be welcoming him back anytime soon.
Oh, come on.
Did he make bad choices?
He made choices. Bad is going to be in the eye of the beholder. We'll just say that he did not shy away from controversial topics, which isn't abnormal for somebody hosting like a live event like this, like the Oscars, the Grammys, etc., so
That's
forth.
also what you get when you hire Shane Gillis.
And that, I think, is people didn't think he may go this far, and he totally did. To the point where he called attention to, it was one of his friends' wives or girlfriends, who was in the audience and tried to play her off as a WNBA player. And then 2 seconds later said, "Ha, you guys thought she was a WNBA player. That's how much you guys don't watch the WNBA and basketball. So I tricked you."
Boy, he went there.
So he went all the way there, in addition to some other topics. But yeah, we'll see. If you're interested in that, go take a look. That was kind of the PG joke that I just tossed your way.
And I feel like again, we don't do politics, but maybe the ESPN is not generally a platform for that kind of jokes. You know what I mean?
The mouse and Shane Gillis may not be vibing.
Yeah.
All right, time to do it. Time to jump into the NFL.
Woo! The
First,
offseason.
well, we're kind of preseason now. The preseason.
Well, without Jim
First,
here, it's a little off, and I'm just trying my best.
do what you got to do. First off, the Steelers signed TJ Watt to a 3-year, $123 million deal. I believe 103 of that was guaranteed, making him the highest paid non-quarterback by annual salary in NFL history. Makes $1 million more than Myles Garrett and about $750K more than Jamar Chase.
Yeah, he
In the
deserves it.
Steelers offseason, Omar Khan has done all the things.
Bob Nutting, take notes.
Letting take notes. Alex, how are we feeling about the Steelers going into the preseason?
I'm excited about it. I love what they did with TJ. I think it's well deserved. I think he's been a staple of that team. Come through in big moments. He's a fan favorite. He gets the buy-in. I think there's no reason not to give him what he deserves. Um, I think it's funny to LOL haha that he makes more than Myles Garrett. Um, but I actually like what they do. I like that they're kind of putting it out there and saying like, we get it. Like you guys are pissed. You haven't had off-season wins in however many years. We're going all in because now you can't look back and be like, ownership didn't do anything to try to help. So
Thanks,
good for
Nate.
them.
Thanks, Nate.
Yep.
Bob Nutting not only putting together a terrible team on the baseball field, but also apparently allegedly leading to some contamination in some water sources, or at least places that he owns.
Sell the team.
Apparently sell the team and the clay shooting range and some other business interests. But Nate, as an outside and casual observer to the Steelers offseason, what are your general thoughts?
I mean, you couldn't have asked for more activity. I mean, they go out and get some well-proven veterans and sign some of your own back. I guess the only question could be, did you get enough younger talent? I mean, you go out and you re-sign TJ. You go out and get a 40-some-year-old Aaron Rodgers. You go get an aging Darius Slay. I mean, really, you get DK, who's still in the prime of his career, and then you lock him up for a few more years. But it's going to be, what's the longevity with this group of guys? I mean, we know Rodgers, this is going to be it.
Yeah,
So is it going to be enough to maybe get Will Howard ready or someone else? And then, again, your rosters, I think I saw, was the second oldest roster in the league, only behind the Commanders.
Which is interesting because the Commanders are offset by some young talent,
right?
In their room.
So I think that's the only concern I would have. Would be, okay, do we have enough young talent who's not on like a bigger deal, or can we get some guys on the cheap? Like, I mean, you go get Kenneth Gainwell on probably a smaller deal, but Super Bowl champion. I'm trying to think who else they brought in.
I think
you trade for get Jalen Ramsey. You trade to get Johnny Smith. Guys have been there, done that. So you got the experience you need in that locker room for the young guys you have, like a Will Howard, like the running back you drafted from Iowa, for like a Calvin Austin who's been in and out of the lineup, for a Roman Wilson to hopefully get his career started this year. So I think you got the nice veterans you want there. It's just how long can they still play at that high level?
This whole thing gives me the vibe of we're going for it. Like, this is our, like, a big push here. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you get the old guys, but they're trusted. They've been there before. Like, if we can get them to the off season, they have the experience and leadership to get it done. So
yeah, this gives me some vibes of like the Rams a few years ago.
yes,
Like, we're kind of all in. We brought in Matthew Stafford. Like, this is going to be it. Now, they've found a way to retain Matthew Stafford, who people weren't sure how long he was going to play, right? They were unsure. He had some injuries and stuff like that. But you kind of went all in and it worked out. So I think it's where their Steelers are right now. And let's hope that it works out and at least gets them to the point where they're competing for an AFC championship game, right? I think that's the minimum standard right now, is to get to the AFC championship game. For the Steelers, this was not your typical offseason. A lot of moves, not just of re-signing players, but bringing players in, trades, right? The Minka Fitzpatrick, Jalen Ramsey, that whole thing with the Dolphins. So I'm excited. Let's just fast forward to September and let's just start the season out. But something that may happen before the season starts, down in Jerry World, Micah Parsons is expected to be signing a contract extension going into the final year of his rookie deal that many just assume will surpass Watt's contract and make Parsons the highest paid non-QB in the league. Jerry did come out and do Jerry things. Not sure what the end goal here is, but said that we pay players. That'll happen, but we don't want them to get injured.
congrats.
I have no idea what Jerry's got going on in his mind.
I don't think Jerry knows what's going on in Jerry.
Maybe he's catching the energy too.
Yeah, but Micah Parsons is participating, right? He's attending camp. I don't know if we'll call him a full participant, but he's definitely there. So that's more than some others can say.
He's pulling the Marshawn.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Yep.
You know, when you're about to bring home the bag, I think you can do those things and get away with it.
Be there.
Yeah. In Bengals camp, nothing good's going on, guys. Absolutely nothing. The Bengals rookies reported training camp, except their first two picks, Shamar Stewart and Demetrius Knight, who are still unsigned, in addition to Trey Hendrickson posting, I believe, on Instagram that he was in Florida. Still a no-show, holding out amidst his contract negotiations. The leading sack getter from last year, also an issue of concern for the Bengals. Is it time to hit the panic button in Cincinnati?
I mean, you would think no because you got your offensive guys there, but I think Peter Schrager put it best on McAfee today. It's like, yeah, you go out and you re-sign Higgins, you get Jamar's contract done, but you have a new D coordinator. You fired your D coordinator, and your number one draft pick is unsigned and not showing up. The leading sack leader on your team is down in Florida, not there. He goes, it's an L to start the preseason. Like, yeah, you get your guys there, but the problem hasn't been your offense. The problem's been your defense. And your best players aren't there.
Yeah, your number one pick who you expected to be the other side of that defensive line, in addition to Trey Hendrickson. Now, I did hear, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this, Alex, that the contract dispute between Shamar Stewart and the Bengals is about that his contract would be voided or they would not have to pay him for games if he were to be suspended for, we'll say, conduct detrimental, right, to the team, to the NFL, under the NFL's personal policies, whatever that, personnel policies. So that is the hang-up. Shamar Stewart, I think, did have some issues at Texas A&M.
So I feel like I'm getting not called out on this, but because of, that my take is about to be old man on the porch, and it absolutely is. Guess what happens? Whenever I sign my notice for the year that I'm going to continue my job, it doesn't mean I can do whatever the hell I want. It means I am going to do my job to the best of my abilities, behave myself. And guess what? If I get arrested, they can fire me. If I show up to school naked, they can fire me. If I can't just walk around punching people and doing dumb shit. You follow the rules. You sign a contract and you follow the rules. Yes, you're right. If you get disciplined, you should lose money. Period. That is how society works. Welcome to it.
Welcome to not the NFL. Welcome to society, Shamar Stewart.
I mean, really, it's just, this is what blows my mind. This is not, why are we not treated, we're like, yeah, this is their job. They get paid to do this, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? If I hold out tomorrow and say, I'm not coming to work until you pay me more money. Okay, bye. Don't door me in the ass on the way out.
Now, Alex, do you have a union? Do you have union representation?
It's just this, no, and it still wouldn't work that way. This is just a fantasy world that they live in. It's pretend. Like, to say that I am not going to sign a contract because it says here that I get in trouble if I get in trouble. Yeah, you do. That's what happens at work.
All right. We'll see how all this plays out in Cincinnati, but definitely cause for concern on the defensive side of the ball. Some other items of note before we get into our AFC NFC West breakdown. Some alternate uniforms have recently been announced. They include the Bucks 1976 white jerseys. Nate, you a fan?
I am. They haven't worn those probably since then. They, of course, are going to wear the creamsicles that they brought back last year for a game or two. And what I'm really looking forward to is they said when the Bucks play the Seahawks this year, both teams are wearing their 1976 throwbacks.
That's
nice. That will be a fun one. The Steelers' 1933 throwbacks, which look pretty ugly to me, but I think so do a lot of the jerseys from the 30s. But there is some historical significance there. I'm just not sure if I guess this is. I don't know if this is better or worse than the Bumblebee uniforms. Alex, what do you think?
Nothing's worse than the Bumblebee uniforms.
I don't know. Honestly, this is pretty close. I feel like it just doesn't match. Like, I feel like they made the pants and they made the shirt.
Well, that's how they wore it back then, Alex.
That's fine. I'm not, like, mad about it, I guess. I just don't really...
The Bumblebees were just so bad with the horizontal stripes, and then you, like, throw the block on the chest and the back with the number on it. That was just such a bad look.
I don't like the Bumblebees, don't get me wrong. But I don't necessarily know that I think I like them less than I like the ones here. I mean, I get it, there's significance, but...
Well, then don't watch the game against the Packers, because that's when they're wearing them.
Good, got it. Thank you.
And the Packers will probably also be wearing something, if I were to guess.
Seems to be the thing.
Yep. The Saints bringing back some gold tops. I've not seen this one. Nate, I think you have?
Yeah, they just posted some pictures of that today. I'm a fan of the gold tops. I'm just not a fan of the black helmets.
Okay. What would you rather see, the gold helmet with the gold top, or?
I mean, I don't mind. Let me rephrase. I don't mind the black helmet. I don't like the helmet stripe.
Okay.
It's the same ones they wore last year that had like the little Saints logos all the way back, and it slowly fades as it goes back.
Right.
But the gold tops I do like.
You're not a fan of the whole getup?
No.
Okay, there we go.
If it was like a plain black helmet with the logo, fine. I just don't like the stripe.
Got it. And last, we have the Commanders Super Bowl era. Again, Nate, I'm sure you've seen this. I have not.
It's basically their jerseys before they were the Commanders.
So when they were the
Oh.
football team?
No, well, not that, but back when they were the
The R words?
the insert name of a color followed by the second half of potato blank.
I think it's funny how different our minds were. I was going to say the largest organ in the human body, and it was
So
our second half.
it was basically their uniform from the 2000s and the 90s, and they're calling it their Super Bowl era, which they just need to go back to wearing those jerseys anyway.
Yeah, it's whatever. All right, in some other news, the Jets signed Garrett Wilson to a 4-year deal, also signed Sauce Gardner to a 4-year deal. I think that's a good move for the Jets, locking up some young talent. I mean, right now they've got a pretty good QB deal with Justin Fields, so definitely, I think, positive news for Jets Nation.
Yeah, getting 2 young guys. I mean, like we were saying with the Steelers not having those young guys locked up, this is a good move by the Jets to get 2 young guys locked up.
Yeah, definitely. The Chiefs guard Trey Smith inked a record $94 million deal. That's good news for Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. Again, Cincinnati taking notes.
Yeah, figured it out. Terry McLaurin did not show up to training camp today for the Commanders. Amid his current contract situation, negotiations, we'll see where this one goes. He's definitely a main key piece to that puzzle with Jaden Daniels and on the offensive side of the ball. How long do we see this one play out before the Commanders and Terry McLaurin figure it out? Alex, what do you think?
I think they figure it out before the season starts. I think Terry McLaurin ends up playing for them. I don't see him leaving.
Okay. So they figure it out. Nate?
I think they have it figured out by the second preseason game.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go somewhere in between those, right? In the next, we'll say, before the end of the 3rd week of August. That's where I'll put it. So that 3 to 4 week mark from now.
I don't know when it'll be or if it'll be within the preseason. I just really feel like they'll whatever they're doing and realize that they need him.
All right, the Commanders also signed Von Miller. I feel like that's not a bad situation for them to bring in a veteran presence on the defensive side of the ball. Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice was sentenced to 30 days in jail. He awaits his NFL discipline. I forget what I saw typically would be in this case. I want to say it's somewhere in like a 2 to 5 game suspension area.
Yeah, I was going to say, it tells me 4.
Say it again, Nate.
Something tells me it's going to be like 4 games.
4-ish, Alex?
If you go to jail, it should be at least like 6.
Well, Alex already went to jail. Wasn't that enough?
What?
That already went to jail. Wasn't that enough?
No. Guess what? If I go to jail, I get fired. Back to where I was at before.
All right, Alex. I feel like you need union representation to get off your porch. Or at least to make you feel different about it. Vikings wide receiver Jordan Addison pled to a lesser charge in a DUI case. Again, awaiting NFL discipline. I think this is pretty standard. I think this was like a 2 or 3 game suspension, I believe.
I was going to say 3 for this one.
Without pay.
See, Alex?
Better, Alex? Suspended without pay.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You don't get paid when you're suspended from work.
Mike Williams retired. Former Charger. Where else did he play, Nate?
Pittsburgh.
He played.
Yeah,
I guess most recently for Pittsburgh. He had a good catch last season, and then that was about it. The most notable retirement, Philip Rivers. Former Chargers great. Nate found the video. Nate, what were your thoughts on that retirement video?
Didn't watch it.
Oh, so you shared it and didn't watch it.
He's like, there's someone else.
Never went back and watched it.
Okay, it was pretty cool. I did watch the full 4.5 minutes.
And he's probably on kid number 20 now?
He said, dang, boys, I got kids to take care of. Let me get back to high school coaching.
He's going to forget the names.
Dadgummit. It was pretty cool. They did bring back some of his early year offensive linemen. They kind of like surprised him in the middle of the video, so that was pretty cool to see. But you can definitely tell that Philip Rivers is just a football guy, like through and through.
And I thought I saw something like his oldest son or whatever is on the cusp of being a senior in high school on his way into college now too. So
Yeah.
We getting old.
So that'll be cool. Yeah, that'll be good. The Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu, has retired. Brought about a whole new, I think, just thought of defensive back play, especially at the safety. Most notable, not only for his NFL career, but what he did when he was at LSU.
Yeah, I feel like that. Honestly, he was one of those guys. He did have a nice, fine NFL career, but he's one that, like, when I think of him, I'll forever think of like his college days more.
Bingo. Titans got a little bit of problem here, or do they? Will Levis to undergo season-ending shoulder surgery. Thank God they called that guy, and that guy is Cam Ward, who most are assuming will be the starter next year. There was a little bit of discussion here about how Will Levis gets to this point and then decides to get the shoulder surgery. Why didn't we just figure this out in the offseason or right when the season ended?
Maybe Cam Ward started playing a lot better than him, and he's like, well, he's probably going to get to start or at least play quickly, so I'll fake an injury or have a injury treated so that way it doesn't look like I was bad. It looks like it was just bad luck.
Now, Alex, if he faked an injury, would that be cause for no pay?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, that's want to make sure that we're going to be consistent here. Now he's having surgery.
Well, if he's having surgery, he's probably not faking it. He was probably just riding it out, and that's different. But if he was faking an injury, yes, no pay. If I fake sick and my boss finds out, no pay.
No pay.
But since
since
I know none of us probably know the answer, who does that leave to back up Cam Ward?
Davis Mills. No idea.
I don't know. Do you know?
That's what the Titans got to be concerned about now. It's like, okay, if Cam Ward goes down, now what? We don't have Rudolph. He's back in Pittsburgh.
I'm not sure where that one ends up, but I do know that the Colts signed Nyheim Hines, who is coming off 2 years away from the NFL because he was hurt, boys, because he had a little bit of a jet ski accident. There was actually a lot of talk at the time because was he going to get paid or was he not going to get paid? But he's on his way back.
Guess what? If you get hurt doing something stupid and it's not work related, no pay.
I think he did get some.
I did check this. I want to make sure he was signed by the Chargers, formerly of the Colts.
Oh, formerly of the Colts. There we go. Thank you, Nate.
Yep.
And Brandon Allen is
that's the
now
one
back
team I
up.
remember him playing for.
Yeah. Yeah, the Colts, right?
Yeah.
And Brandon Allen and Tim Boyle are the backups in Tennessee.
Tim Boyle.
Two guys I've heard of, at least.
Yeah, they at least are notable. But I don't think we want Cam Ward to go down and have to play either of those. All right. That's some of what's going on in the NFL. Let's get into our first breakdown of the season. We're going to start with the AFC West, home of your Super Bowl runner-ups. Kansas City Chiefs, along with the Chargers, Broncos, and Raiders. We all know the Chiefs have been the cream of the crop in this division. Had a 15-2 record last year. Chargers in second place, 11-6. Broncos at 10-7, and the Raiders in last place at 4-13. Starting with the Chiefs, key additions they bring in. Well, let's start with key losses. They lost Samaje Perine at running back and Justin Reed at safety. They did bring in running back Elijah Mitchell to replace Perine. Also brought in Jerry Tillery on the defensive line and Mike Edwards at safety to hopefully fill that spot left by Justin Reed. We all know the belle of the ball in Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. This is just purely like me being me, but I'm kind of sick of them.
Sick of who? Patrick Mahomes?
No,
sick of
Chiefs.
Travis Kelce? You sick of Taylor Swift?
The Chiefs. It was fun for a while, and I'm not taking anything away from them. They're a great football team. I like Andy Reid. I like Travis Kelce. I don't mind Patrick Mahomes. He's a little whiny. Don't like that. But I'm ready for a new sheriff to be in town.
Looking for some shakeup atop the AFC West. Nate, general thoughts on the Chiefs?
I mean, until it's proven otherwise, it's just going to be reload, and it's going to be their division to lose again. I mean, like Alex said, I mean, You get tired of seeing them every year. It's like, all right, that's what, again, not to get off topic, but again, that's why I enjoy college football more than pro. It's because at least in college, you see new names, you see new teams every once in a while. It's not the dynasty where you're going to see the same team in the national championship every season.
There we go. Yep, I mean, it's whatever for the Chiefs. I agree with Nate. They gotta lose before we believe that they will be the losers, or at least that they won't win the division. Next, we go to the Chargers. Key losses include Joey Bosa and J.K. Dobbins, who was coming off. Well, J.K. Dobbins was coming off his Achilles injury, just like Aaron Rodgers. But they did bring in the 4th of July fireworks expert Najee Harris at running back. And have we all seen the Jim Harbaugh picture of him peeking through a curtain?
No.
Yeah, is he allowed to practice, or is it like Michigan where he's not allowed?
I feel like that's exactly what in my mind what was going on. Is just like he's spying on practice because he's not allowed to be there for some reason.
Oh
Hey,
my.
Alex, you need to find this. It's pretty comical and it's very much a Harbaugh type deal.
Gotcha.
But I really the Chargers at this point. It's all about, is this the year that they finally have some pieces around Justin Herbert to allow them to be successful? We all know that Jim Harbaugh is all about the run game, run game, run game, run game. But I feel like they've got to open it up in order to compete with and beat the Chiefs.
Yes. Agreed.
Nate, thoughts on the Chargers?
I mean, I think you hit the nail right on the coffin.
No.
There we go.
Does the coffin mean you don't have faith in that?
No, I mean, I just think he's got everything covered there.
Next are the Broncos. Broncos coming off a bit of resurgence last year under Sean Payton. They lose Zach Cunningham at linebacker and Lil Jordan Humphrey at wide receiver. They do bring in Evan Ingram from Jacksonville at tight end and Dre Greenlaw. I forget where Dre Greenlaw came from.
San Fran.
Sam Fran. So the Broncos, we know, with Sean Payton, they are hoping that the quarterback position will be filled by, why is the name eluding me?
Bo Nix.
Bo Nix. They're hoping that they've struck lightning in a bottle with Bo Nix, and the positives from last year will continue. Do we see the Broncos continuing to improve, or do we see a leveling off this year, Nate?
I think they'll make a little bit of improvement. Only thing for me is I don't think they're missing like one key skill guy. I know you got Cortland Sutton there. I just think in this division especially, you need that spark plug. Like you have Kelsey in Kansas City, and you've got all that speed in the wide receiver room. I mean, again, AFC West don't know much about the Western Conference team or Western Division teams. I just don't see or can't recall that one guy that I'm like, all right, other than Cortland Sutton, who's been there for a while, who's the big playmaker on this roster?
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair point.
Yeah, that's going to be it. It's the skill positions on the outside. I agree wholeheartedly with Nate. And last, maybe least, potentially least, we will see the Raiders, who lose Marcus Epps at safety and Terrence Marshall at wide receiver.
We have
That's
a
kind of...
huge pickup in the quarterback room, though.
They do bring in Pete Carroll at head coach. Raheem Mostert from Miami at running back, Jamal Adams at safety, and yes, Alex, they bring in former West Virginia Mountaineer Geno Smith to come in under center.
It's really hard for me, though, of all the teams he could have gone to. Like, I really have a hard time finding redeeming qualities with the Raiders. I
The
hope
Raiders
as well.
Raiders getting out of the cellar in this division, or are they just gonna be there?
I mean, I think having Pete Carroll there and bringing in a proven guy like Geno to go with his old head coach, I mean, you would think, but I think they're like the Broncos where I don't know who they have offensively to really help carry them.
Yeah, gonna be a tough road to hoe for the Raiders. So, end of year, how do we think this pans out? Let's start with Nate.
I still think the Chiefs are going to be the cream of the crop in this division. I think they'll lose a few more games. I think they'll finish around 13-4. Chargers get a little bit better, even though they lose Bosa to the Bills. I have them going 11-6. Broncos, I think, will still be about the same as last year. Still not quite over the hump unless they make some moves at the trade deadline. I have them going 10-7. And the Raiders get a little bit better in the first year of the Pete Carroll era. I have the Raiders at 7-10.
All right, I will go next. I have the Chiefs still taking this one home, 12-5. I have the Broncos at 11-6 in second place, so improving at least in their positioning within the division. The Chargers just not able to take that step forward. I see the Chargers going 10-7, and then in last place, the Raiders 5-12, bringing up the rear. Alex.
I think I'm having a hard time with the first two, Chiefs and Broncos. I think if any team in this division could unseat the Chiefs, it would be the Broncos. But because I do think Bo Nix is the real deal. But I'm going to go with Chiefs 13-4, Broncos 12-5, Chargers 10-7, and the Raiders 6-11.
Maybe we'll get Jim's thoughts, at least records, to toss out to the loyal listeners. But alas, we have what we have at this time. Next, we get into the NFC West. Again, on our tour of the divisions that we care least about. We had last year's standings. The Rams taking it down 10-7, the Seahawks 10-7, Cardinals 8-9, and the Niners in a down year at 6-11. Starting off with the first place division winner, Los Angeles Rams, who lost Cooper Kupp, big deal, Demarcus Robinson at wide receiver, and they lost Joseph Noteboom on the offensive line, but they did bring in Devontae Adams and David Quessenberry along the offensive line. I mean, this is. I don't know I don't know what Matthew Stafford's contract looks like, but this has got to be one of his last years, and they've got to be just trying to do what they can right now.
Yeah, I think the Devontae Adams move was the one that probably surprised me the most this summer. But the more I thought about it, I'm like, went to Fresno State. He's from that area, goes home to play. So it makes sense to go play the guy with the pedigree of Stafford, playing a dome, played warm weather. But yeah, I think they're another team that's got to kind of be all in. I mean, they didn't make as many splash moves. But again, like you said, without knowing the Stafford deal, I know he makes a lot of money. But I mean, you can't ever count out Stafford and McVay.
Yeah, Alex.
I don't. I personally would rather have Cooper Kupp than Devontae Adams, so that trade for me isn't 1-to-1 necessarily. That said, I think that Cooper Kupp seems to be more and more injury prone as his career goes on, so they probably have someone a little more stable. I think they can be okay, but I don't see it being some miraculous team.
All right. Yeah, I'm kind of like, I mean, I think the Rams are definitely going to be in a good spot in this division, but I think honestly it's a coin flip on whether or not they finish first or third. Right? They're kind of like, we'll see what happens.
Yes.
Next we go to the Seahawks, who lose probably a top 15 quarterback in the league in Geno Smith.
Thank you for putting a little respect on his name.
I said 15.
I'm not saying he's top 5. I'm saying
Okay. You're okay with top 15? All right, and they also lose DK Metcalf, but bring in Cooper Kupp in division and bring in Sam Darnold as well, coming off a good year last year. So, Seahawks, did they get better or did they get worse with this QB wide receiver swap? Alex.
I mean, I'm probably a little biased, but also I think genuinely worse. I would take Geno Smith over. Okay, I would take Geno Smith over Sam Darnold, but I would take Cooper Kupp over DK Metcalf.
Okay, Nate, your thoughts?
I think it's definitely a downgrade. I mean, as a fan perspective, you're like, man, I lose QB1, I lose wide receiver 1, and then I also saw they're going to release tight end 1, Noah Fant. So it's like, man, we were like cleaning house. Like we weren't necessarily a terrible team, but I mean, the Cooper Cup signing is a big one. I mean, from that area, stays in division. And then I would be a little skeptical on Darnold. I mean, sure, he had the really good year last year in Minnesota, but it's like, okay, that was one good year out of how many? Granted, he's had how many different coaches, been on different rosters, but it's like, hopefully you can get him on the cheap or whatever his contract they signed him to was. And it's like, okay, maybe we can build around him for cheaper than we could have building around Geno.
Yeah. This is kind of like a toss-up for me. I think this is, I'm not going to say it's an upgrade at wide receiver, but it definitely has upside if Cooper Kupp stays healthy. At wide receiver or at quarterback, this is the ultimate coin flip, right? This could look like a genius move, and this could look like one of the worst moves of the offseason to let go to Geno Smith and bring in Sam Darnold. So we will see. Tyler Lockett,
Yep.
did he retire or did he leave?
Now he's with the Titans.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, he's going to get passes from Cam Ward instead of Will Levis now. All right, next we have the Cardinals lose Zach Pascal at wide receiver. Choo, 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 shots, explosives. But they do bring in Josh Sweat as an edge rusher and Calais Campbell along the defensive line. Is this the year that the Cardinals make some noise in the division? Nate?
In the division, yes. In the league, no.
Okay, Alex, you think there's anything exciting about the Cardinals this season?
I refuse to buy into the Cardinals ever again. Every time we do, they shit the bed. So I think it'll be another season of the typical.
Is there Call of Duty coming out?
That's probably.
Okay, there is. Then chalk it up as another bad season.
The other teams are actually subsidizing new Call of Duty games to be created right around the time the season starts.
It's an in-division situation.
Yes.
The 49ers, the Seahawks, and the Rams are lobbying for Call of Duty releases.
They pull together their funds and say work faster.
All right, and last, we have the 49ers coming off a bad down here, but didn't get a whole lot better in the offseason as far as their additions and subtractions. They lose Deebo Samuel. They lose Charvarius Ward. They lose Drake Greenlaw. They lose Elijah Mitchell. But they do bring in Bryce Huff as an edge rusher and Andre Dillard along the offensive line. 49ers, do we see some type of resurgence this year, or do these losses coupled with some of the holdouts and contract negotiation issues that they are experienced with, who is it? Juwan Jennings, and who's the wide receiver? The other wide receiver. Brandon Ayuk. Yeah. So 49ers resurgence this year, Alex? Yes? No?
No. I think that they sold the farm and will pay the consequences at least for a year or so. I don't know if they're going to plan to try to regroup, restructure a little bit, and then go after it next year. But I think this year they are out.
All right, Nate.
I think they'd rebound a little bit, but I mean, you look at that name; it's under key losses. It's like, how do you get better whenever you lose key pieces like that?
Going to be tough. I'm with you. I think that they have some spells where they look like the Niners of old, but ultimately I think this is going to be a bad year. All right.
Agreed.
So that brings us to where we think the records will be in the NFC West at season's end. I will go first this time. I have the Rams finishing in first again. Not necessarily the most impressive record, 11-6, but they find a way. Followed by the 49ers, who do make some resurgence. In second place, 10-7. The Cardinals, 8-9. And I have the Seahawks not capitalizing, not doing well. Sam Darnold does not give them what they thought he was going to. Seahawks bring up the caboose in this division at 6-11. Nate.
I also think the Rams will win this division at 11-6. I think it'll be one of those like it was last year, 2 years ago, where it goes down to the last couple of weeks of the regular season, but then the Rams pull away late. Niners, I think, will get second place. I think, like we said, they're going to can't be as worse as they were last year, but they're not going to be significantly better. So I have them at 9-8. Cardinals, I have 8-9. I like the Josh Sweat acquisition. He played really well for Philly, but I mean, really, they didn't get any better anywhere else on the roster. In the Seahawks, I think I agree with you completely, and I have them going 5-12.
All right, Alex.
I have the Rams up top at a meager 10-7. Seahawks next at 9-8. The 49ers at 8-9. And I think the Cardinals poop the bed and go 4-13.
Again, we'll see what we can get from Jim on this. But that ends the first breakdown, AFC NFC West, and brings us into some college football off-season.
College football off-season.
First, Lee Corso tribute at the ESPYs. Nate?
It just doesn't seem real that this is going to be seeing Lee Corso in college football.
Yeah, there's going to be some emotional moments in College Game Day, especially in these first few weeks, I believe.
And if Jim were here,
I will still watch.
It's like, hey, Jim, you think you're going to try to get to game day when they play Texas here to see Corso one last time? But I'm imagining Columbus will be packed to see him one more time.
Let's hope. It's a noon kickoff. We know how Jim feels about how Columbus shows up for early games and big time games.
Yeah, but I think you've got a lot riding on this. I mean, home opener, first game of the year, big market team coming in. Game day is going to be there. Big noon kickoff's going to be there.
If you don't show up, shame on you.
Yeah, if you don't show up for this one,
you're never going to show up.
Yeah, shame on you.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm definitely interested to see how this plays out. Will be an emotional send-off for Lee Corso. Also in Ohio land, we don't have the resident Ohio homer here, but a federal judge in Ohio dismissed a lawsuit seeking compensation for thousands of former Ohio State athletes from the NCAA. Basically, this came down to Terrell Pryor spearheading an effort to get some money from the NCAA for him and many other former Ohio State student athletes on name, image, and likeness. I love this last line here. Plaintiffs generally face a 4-year window to bring claims under U.S. antitrust law. And I quote, this is from the district judge, Sarah Morrison, said, and I quote, Mr. Pryor knew the material facts underlying his antitrust claims long before the 4-year limitations period had run. So I feel like there was just a fundamental issue of when this case came to be and the time period that it should have come to light.
I was going to say, and how the court worked. You know what I mean?
Right.
It sounds like we just we're suing you. But didn't really have maybe the ducks in a row. Yeah.
So maybe we'll get some from Jim on that next week. In Arkansas, wide receiver Monte Harrison turns 30 on August 10th. He came to the sport after taking some time to pursue a baseball career. In this new era of name, image, likeness, and likely to see some, we'll say, institution-driven salaries and a salary cap, should there be any type of age limit for NCAA football players?
No, I think you have 4 years.
Yeah, I think you have to have something there. Because, I mean, you have some guys that are coming in as true freshmen, 18 years old, or sometimes they graduate a year early at 17. But I think the bigger thing here, even though it's not in their sport, is he's coming from another professional sport.
So he has been a professional.
Yeah, I mean, granted, not in football, it's in baseball. It's like, all right, buddy, your time window's coming past. You had your opportunity. Let these 18 to 23, 24-year-olds have theirs.
Well, it's like if you have accrued compensation as a professional athlete in any sport, it should all kind of count the same.
Okay, so once you turn professional in any sport, you are no longer eligible to go back to college.
I think that's a fair.
I mean, amateur at this point. I mean, quote unquote amateur.
Yeah.
But now I wanted to, like, age discrimination aside, which, because I know that's something that would come up. Like, oh, you can't deny me this opportunity. I'm enrolled at the college. They're willing to put me on their roster. They're willing to offer me a scholarship. Like, beyond all of that, I do think Nate's point is taken well. It's like, you may have 18 or 19-year-olds out there. Like, at some point, is there a safety consideration for either side, right? We'll say an early 30s person coming back in the field, and how that may impact their body, and grown-ass men playing against 18-year-olds who are theoretically grown-ass men, but have not fully developed in that way yet.
And I think there's a little bit of that, but honestly, that still takes a backseat to my concept of, like, you were a professional athlete. Like, you don't go back to college. And I think that's an easy way around that specific argument, at least. Like, this isn't about your age. This is about,
your amateur status. Yeah. Fair enough. All right, Nate, did you put this last one in here?
Yeah, I couldn't remember the old buddy's name. Jake, what's its nuts? From BYU.
Rats.
Or whatever.
Yeah. BYU is now reportedly going to Tulane.
So he's going to be a part of the Green Wave now.
Mm-hmm.
He's allowed to. He doesn't have to quake there.
Yeah, he's going from soaking to the ocean.
He can soak in the ocean now if he wants to.
Mm-hmm.
All right, other interesting news in sports. First, in the MMA world, Dustin Poirier lays the gloves down, announcing his retirement to the world after losing in a unanimous decision to Max Holloway. This is exactly how this career should have ended, with the third fight between these two, and Max Holloway calling him to the center of the ring for the last 20-ish seconds of the fight. Both guys looked pretty beat up. It was a 5-round slugfest. So
I like what Poirier had to say after the fact, where they're like, "Oh, you didn't really seem too interested there to duke it out at the end." He goes, "Yeah, I saw what happened to Gaethje. I didn't want to go out that way."
He doesn't want to get knocked out in his last fight, the last 20 seconds.
Yeah, with 1 or 2 seconds left.
He did go in there and take a few shots and then clinch up. So, he kind of hit a happy medium in the world there.
And, I respect him for knowing when it's time to be done.
Yeah, and it was in his hometown. He's from New Orleans. That's where the fight was. Like, this is the way to end it.
Yep.
So, and last, in the baseball world, we had the MLB All-Star Game since our last episode, and it ended in the first ever swing-off. Nate, tell us about the swing-off, why it's going on, what happened, and what this means for the rest of the MLB season.
So instead of having a traditional extra innings for the All-Star Game, baseball decided, okay, we're going to take the NHL's concept of the shootout, and we're going to have a swing-off. So for the novice baseball fan like Jim, it's like, what the hell's a swing off? So what they do now is kind of like hockey. You have 3 predetermined players on your roster, and instead of them each getting like 1 shot to score on the goalie per se, each guy gets 3 swings. So whether you swing and miss, hit a pop-up grounder, whatever, throw the pitching coach out there, throw your dad out there, throw whoever you want to throw you BP. And the NL ended up coming out on top on this. And big thanks to Kyle Schwarber, who went 3 for 3.
Bingo. And we had Big Dumper win the Home Run Derby.
He did.
So my question about going back to the All-Star Game for a second. So in the MLB, correct me if I'm wrong, but that matters. Because
I believe, I don't know if they still do this or not. But they used to do, whoever won the All-Star Game, that league's winner got to be the home team for the World Series.
Yeah, they were the home field advantage for like the 1 game extra or whatever.
But I'm not sure if they still do that or if it's just based off of who has the better record.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Still do that.
But see, and that's the only beef I have with this swing off. is like if you're actually going to come down to using that win or loss for something, it should be played like a baseball game.
So, Alex, are all the regular season games no longer played like a baseball game anymore since they get the Manfred man runner?
Well, I would have been fine with that. Like play the rules of the All-Star game the same as every other game, I guess is my
See, the only
thought.
thing with that, though, is the All-Star game's played in the middle of the season. And you have all these pitchers you want to get in, and you don't necessarily want to elongate the game when these guys 2 days later got to go back to the regular clubs and play a series.
Yeah, that makes sense too.
Yeah, I think it's always been about conserving arms more than anything, right? I mean, each pitcher usually only throws an inning.
Yeah. So
right. So I would almost rather see the swing off than I would having position players have to pitch in like the 10th or 11th inning.
Right.
Fair enough.
So I think that's what you would get otherwise, and I think that's a worse product than the swing off, which at least has some of that that shootout mentality from the NHL.
I think it's cool. I just the only concern that I would raise is that
because it had their stakes.
Yes.
All right, and last note here, we had a couple perfect games in the minor leagues in baseball from the same team within a 10-day period. 9 days after throwing a perfect game on July 4th using 3 pitchers, the Greensboro Hoppers, a Pirates High A affiliate, tossed another perfect game on July 13th, again using 3 pitchers. This is the first time that a professional baseball club had ever done this. I think it's time just to do a swap. Just bring, I don't care that they're a high A affiliate, just bring them up to the majors.
Bring in the Hoppers.
Bring in the Hoppers to replace the Buccos. Because the Pirates lost their first series. I believe they were swept in their first series by the White Sox after the All-Star break and officially went below 500 as a franchise for the first time since 1903.
That's embarrassing.
1903.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even wrap my head around just the absolute futility that has been experienced over my lifetime.
Yeah. Like, why do I...
to get to this point?
Every year I start out caring, and by this point I'm like, you know what? I literally could care less because the people that own the team and make the money and all this don't care. It's embarrassing.
But at least we do have Paul Skeens, who was the starter on Monday on Sunday.
And got the dub.
No.
Finally.
On Monday. Sorry, it was on Monday. Finally got a W, and he continues to make history. Again, 1903 coming in here. This time because he's the only pitcher since 1903 to have 300-plus strikeouts and a sub 2.0 ERA through 44 career starts.
Yeah.
So we got to take the good with the bad.
Terrible.
And that wraps up this week's episode of Sports Stuff with...
How do we end on a bad note? From now on, we're not talking about the Pirates at last.
Sports Stuff with Alex and Muff. Make sure you stay tuned in the coming weeks for our NFL breakdowns. I have no idea. We're probably doing the North divisions next week. No, we're not doing the North.
No,
we're going to be doing the East.
We don't do that.
You sure?
I think we're doing East. I don't know. I put together a list. If you're looking at it, Nate, just tell me.
It is the East.
AFC, NFC
followed
West.
by the North, followed by the South. Oh, sorry.
I did a little switch up there.
Yeah. Followed by the AFC South, NFC North, and then AFC North, NFC South.
That's so we can get the Steelers and Bucks in the same week.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I was like, as long as
Jim's not here, so he can't complain about the Texans and where they fall. Well, we lost the Texans, but that's Jim's secondary, like his second favorite. Well, his favorite team, but his second rendition of a favorite team.
Yeah, you don't get.
So,
that knocks.
He doesn't get prime position just yet. He's a new fan. But as always, that's Sports Jim Muff on Instagram and Twitter. Sports Stuff with Jim Muff on Facebook, on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe because 100 subscribers, we're going to give away some prizes.
Prizes?
So make sure you get into all the things. Like, comment, subscribe, review, do all those things. Get the bell on.
Get the bell on. Ding, ding.
Ding, ding. And we'll see you next week.